Welcome to video 2. In this video, we're going to be discussing how to read and understand a printout when you bring your water test into Aqua-Tech for professional analysis, as well as the email that you will be sent by your installation team once your new hot tub is delivered. So let's just get right into it, shall we? This is what the printout will always look like. In this top section here, we have your regular routine maintenance, which always is consistent and never changes. Here we have your water test results, the actual results from your particular water test, as well as the ideal ranges that we're shooting for. And then down below we have the corrections, how to take your water sample and make it perfect. So let's just get into the details, shall we? So the first thing that we want to talk about is the regular maintenance. Now you'll remember back to video 1, where we talked about your regular routine care. So this is just a reminder how to do that regular routine care. Let's talk about it one more time, shall we? After fresh filling and doing those particular steps, on a weekly basis, you want to make sure that you're adding your choice of sanitizer. In the spa, we're using Smart Tabs with SpaGuard because it's a chlorine hot tub. Certainly can be using bromine as well. Both sanitizers are equivalently fantastic, just work a little bit differently. You want to be testing and maintaining 3 to 5 parts per million of sanitizer all the time. The key is consistent. So you will be needing to test your water regularly a couple times a week, add tablets or remove tablets as needed. Then pick a day of the week that's hot tub day. On that day, you're always, every week, going to add your Soft Soak Trio weekly softener and clarifier. This is a product that does a few different things. Number 1, it gases away wastes and keeps the water chemically clean. It also prevents scale to keep your equipment in good shape. It has enzymes to eat up oily organic things and help you need less sanitizer in your hot tub. And it has a water softening agent to make your water feel fabulous all the time. So a whole bunch of things in one handy dandy little pouch, but it is very important that it goes in every 7 days. Just as important as keeping that sanitizer level consistent. If you're not doing either one of these items, you are going to have water that's harder to care for, doesn't feel as great, might not be as safe, and is really just not a pleasure to be soaking in. Now let's get to the good stuff, shall we? Your water balance. Water balance is like the foundation of your house. Your weekly care is the house. So when we build a solid foundation, your house is easy to care for and really quite enjoyable to live in. Exactly the same kind of thing down here. So let's get into some details about what these numbers actually are. TDS is the total dissolved solids in your water. This is really a measure of how old your water is and its capability of accepting chemical change as well as being comfortable. The lower the number, the fresher the water is. One of the reasons why we want to drain and refill your hot tub every 3 months is these total dissolved solids accumulate and get in the way of the chemicals and how they work, as well as they can cause challenges like foamy water, cloudy water, water that's not as silky. So every 3 months, we want to be draining and refilling the hot tub whenever weather allows. This is not a salt hot tub. Salt is really not recommended for hot tub use. However, some clients do choose to use it. We don't support that particular method because it will not support your new spa warranty. The pH in this particular spa is 7.2. Ideally, we want to be between 7.2 and 7.6. So we've got a little green check mark of, hey, way to go, we did a good job. The next thing we test for is total alkalinity. The total alkalinity in this demonstration sample is 87, fairly common for City of Winnipeg tap water. Ideally, we want an alkalinity of between 100 and 120. Alkalinity's job is to buffer pH, so pH is constantly changing. Every drop of water, every bit of perspiration, every time your jets turn on, all of those things cause your pH to change. If we have an ideal alkalinity, it will buffer that pH change so that most of the time the pH will come back into that ideal range again and make our lives much easier. So we're going to change that alkalinity in the hot tub, and we'll talk a little bit about that below. The next thing is calcium hardness. This calcium hardness is low at 78, 150 to 200 is where we want to be. Just like your body needs calcium, so does your hot tub. We want to make sure that we have enough calcium in the water to ensure that there is no equipment damage, to make sure your acrylic and your pump and your filter and your heater, all of these things last a good long time. In this particular demonstration sample, the sanitizer level is 0. We want to get that sanitizer between 3 to 5 parts per million. To establish that level, we'll use a granular product, and this is exactly the same thing you do when you're testing your water at home yourself with your test strips. If your sanitizer is low, you'll add a little bit of granular, and then increase your tablet dosage to maintain it at that 3 to 5 part per million level. Let's move on to the second part of the printout, your actual water test results. This is the results of the water test that we've performed for you, and the reason why we're doing the corrections down below. Let's just jump right into the details of what some of these things are and why we test for them. The first thing is TDS, or total dissolved solids. This is a measure of how old your water is and its ability to accept chemical change. High TDS is a reason why your water can be cloudy, foamy, and otherwise uncomfortable. As well, the higher your TDS, the more chemicals you need. This is why we recommend draining the hot tub every 3 months religiously when our weather allows. The next thing is pH. pH is a measure of how acidic or how alkali your water is. It's also the #1 thing that affects bather comfort, as well as equipment longevity. So keeping a pH between 7.2 and 7.6 is what we really want to be doing. How do we do that? We have good alkalinity. Total alkalinity is the buffer of pH. It allows pH to change with every drop of water, every bit of perspiration, everything that you're turning your jets on affects your pH. So if we have an alkalinity not at 87 as this hot tub is, but between 100 to 120, that pH will resist change better and will allow us to have better water quality with less work. Just like our body needs calcium, so does your hot tub. The calcium hardness in this spa is 78, which is typical of Winnipeg tap water. We want it to be between 150 to 200. This is going to give us good long life out of our equipment. Next thing in this demonstration hot tub is the sanitizer level. The sanitizer level right now is 0. Now that's not, as we talked about up here, what we want to be, 3 to 5 parts per million all the time. 3 to 5 is our ideal. So what we're going to do is down below, we're going to see an adjustment to add a granular sanitizer to boost the level up immediately, and then adjust the tablet quantity to make sure that our dosage is appropriate. Okay, let's move on to the homework. So your printout, the dosage will be different. It's based on your exact water volume and your exact water test that we have just done for you. But this is a demonstration to kind of give you an idea of how to follow those instructions. So because of the things that are not green check marks up here, little green check mark, things that need attention, we're going to do the steps listed below. So first things first, the total alkalinity was low. So we'd like 99 grams of SpaGuard Balance Pack 100 to be broadcast into the hot tub. If your alkalinity is lower than 50, you'd want to divide this dosage into thirds and wait an hour between each dose. This particular tub, 87, so we're good to add it all at one time. The reason why we want to have waiting periods between steps, as well as sometimes dividing doses, is just to make sure that the water stays clear so that we can allow your water to have time to absorb the products all at the same time. The next step is some low and slow. Now you'll notice that the pH is perfect. Why would we want to change that? We want to change that because when you raise your alkalinity, your pH is also going to come up. In this particular analysis, it's only 5 grams. 5 grams is such a small amount, it's really quite immeasurable. So in this particular situation, and you might find in yours as well, if your pH is perfect, and you get a little green check mark, and your printout is asking you to adjust your pH, we would say, don't do this step right now, move on to the next one, and then after 3 or 4 days, bring in a checkup sample so that we can see what the pH actually is and if it needs adjustment. Or take a picture of a test strip and email it to watercare@aqua-tech.ca and we can help you remotely. 99% of the time, that pH will bounce into still the proper range because you've just got great alkalinity. So our next step is going to be to address the low calcium hardness. We want to put in 108 grams of Balance Pack 300. This product is always divided into thirds. You want to wait at least 2 hours between each dose. And when you apply the dose, keep the pump running and leave the circulation on for 30 minutes. So what does that mean? Just turn your jets on. Now you can certainly be using the spa after 15 minutes of putting this in. The 2-hour wait is just a minimum. You could do it over 3 days if you wanted. You could be using the spa the entire time. We really, again, just want to add it slowly to give your water time to absorb everything into solution. The final step to talk about is your stabilized chlorinating granules, or if you're using bromine, brominating granules. Whenever your level is 0, no matter what balancing you have to do, get that level up. It's the most important thing. So in this particular volume hot tub, we're going to add 45 grams of chlorinating granules and leave the cover off for 30 minutes. Just make sure the chlorine is between 3 to 5 before you go in. And again, change your tablet dosage. So tablets will maintain a dosage, but they're not going to establish one. So it's important to make sure that we bump up that sanitizer level, either with your chlorine or your bromine as dictated by which sanitizer you're using. The last note is about filtration. In video 1, you'll remember we talked a fair bit about filters and how the #1 cause of most water problems and mechanical failure relates to dirty filters. So make sure that you're using SpaGuard Filter Bright to soak the outside pleated filter, the one that looks kind of like a mushroom, every 4 to 6 weeks. If you have a 2-part filter that has an inner core that has no pleats but looks kind of like a really funny looking foam, that one cannot be chemically cleaned. So just rinse it lightly every now and then and replace it as needed. Most people, depending which inner filter you have, need to replace it every 1 to 3 months. Well, that's it for how to read a printout. Don't forget to watch video 3, which is our top 10 hot tub tips, the top 10 things we forget to tell you. And if at any time you have any questions, please reach out. We are here to help in this brand new relaxation you've invested in. So just give us a call at 204-233-8822 and ask for water testing, or send us an email to watercare@aqua-tech.ca. Happy soaking!